Due to the graphic nature of the topic, viewer discretion is advised. So what if we learned? Nothing. Because we, and by we, I mean fans that mostly use Twitter, expect way too much from voice actors. And not just advice on how to make it into the industry, but on political beliefs and moral opinions, when the only job expected of them is to act in the jobs they book. However, a minority of fans have high expectations for people they don't personally know. Right now, the Genshin Impact actors are feeling the brunt of this from a new generation of these types of fans. I can only assume that most of them are children. I could be wrong. Okay, I know I'm wrong, because some of these people were on YouTube. But there was a time when all eyes were on the English cast of Dragon Ball. That ultimately resulted in broken friendships, loss of jobs, a destroyed legacy, and harassment for everyone. And besides Twitter, a lot of the mob mentality was spread on YouTube for no reason. And yes, YouTube was part of the problem.
And then the Vic Mignogna stuff happens. The floodgates open up and all these toxic fans just start pouring into my video with all the kick Vic, stand with Vic stuff.
So let's go back to 2019 and see how much things have changed. And I'll be honest, it's not much.
People, the religious people like
he loves all of these people as much as he loves you. And until you start preaching that message, you are not communicating God's message.
Welcome back, I'm Dusk, but you can call me Koala. Today we're going to go back to a simpler time. Before you know, we had an actual crisis that sounded like it came out of a movie. But when the biggest problem was parasocial fans' expectations for voice actors to pick size, or else they would be mad. Resulting in online harassment regardless of what they said or what site they picked. This involved the biggest actors in the industry today, the names that are now household names within the anime space. Yes, it was the English cast of Dragon Ball Z, and having everything come to a boil after a huge movie premiere, with certain YouTube channels perpetuating the harassment in a really big way, and what would be turned into daily uploads. And it all stemmed from parasocialism and a voice actor that had been feeding into it for over a decade. This is the Kick Vic campaign of 2019.
All this left behind, it'll only slow us down. Heart will be your guide.
If you've been an anime fan of the last 2 decades, you've probably heard the voice of Vic Mignogna, best known for playing Edward Elric in the extremely popular Fullmetal Alchemist anime, even winning an award for the role in 2007. And he's also in a ton of games, such as Junpei Iori from Persona 3, and a fan favorite at anime conventions. My own interactions with him were normal, and the first time he said I had cool hair, and the second time I got my Edward figure signed, and I asked him about his music being available on iTunes, because I didn't want to purchase the Christmas album on the spot. In 2019, he reprised his role as Broly in the new Dragon Ball Super Broly movie.
I know about this theater. I know that Star Wars premiered here.
During the same year, he was accused of kissing and groping fans without consent, including those underage. Past photos of fan interactions did display a hug or a kiss. They do exist. But in all recorded accounts, that was asked by the fans in the photos.
Hug everybody, you know what I mean? That's just always been who I am. You could go back and find panels from Q&A or autograph sessions from 10 years ago, 12, 15 years ago. And I'm doing the same thing. That, in my mind, it's a way of saying thank you and expressing kindness and appreciation.
After the allegations, he would go on to talk about how he would no longer have any physical contact with fans.
But here's what I've learned.
We're here for you, man.
Just because 1,000 people want to hug doesn't mean everybody does. And I got really lazy. Over the years, I got really lazy. And I got used to being the same person all the time. And I was insensitive to the fact that there could be people out there that don't want that. And it has never, ever been my intention to offend or hurt anyone.
At the same time, he was also accused of making unwanted advances towards co-workers at Funimation, which he described as playful behavior that was in the lobby of the Funimation offices, in front of cameras, that included the co-workers he believed to be longtime friends, some of which date back to the ADV anime dub days. We won't go over who those people are due to the outcome of what happened. He was then fired from Funimation and Rooster Teeth, and he was dropped from previous roles he had played outside of Funimation, like Kishibe Rohan from JoJo Part 4. And for those that are curious about the legal outcome, Vic denied any allegations and sued Funimation along with other accusers from the company for defamation, which he ultimately lost. The defense apparently provided 10 affidavits from Funimation employees, with a lot of back and forth appeals that resulted in Vic having to pay the legal fees of people he had sued. I tried to find out if the last part was true but could not, and getting his appeals dismissed all the way up to the Texas Supreme Court. I'm not sure what's contained in the affidavits provided by the employees, but there wasn't any trial that actually happened. I do want to include the fact that at least one of the affidavits from the Funimation actors did support Vic. With Funimation being previously bought out by Sony, they had the ability to keep a trial from ever happening.
All that has happened here is they've kept the case from being heard. That's what's happened. There wasn't a presentation of the facts and evidence and a verdict and proof of anything. It never got to that stage.
Either way, Vic had people who supported him in the I Stand With Vic tag, and people who supported the Kick Vic tag online. While fans were picking sides, they were also demanding the Funimation voice actors to do the same. People also demanded answers for other well-known voice actors. There were so many screenshots of tweets and Reddit discussions that made my brain melt, and these are all basically opinions of the situation and don't have any valuable information to add. If you just Google Kick Vic, you'll find lists made by people that separate which voice actors supported him and those that didn't, which I think they had way too much time on their hands. And it's a kind of fan that we often point out on this channel. When something that's meant to be entertainment, in this case anime and voice actors, turns into something that gets way out of hand and negatively affects the actual lives of people. Here's a DeviantArt post with a list of voice actors that supported Vic. Here's a list of voice actors that remained neutral. And this list is even everything. I just gave up. They just kept adding regular celebrities that aren't even in the anime space. And a list of YouTubers that support Vic. Now here's another post titled The Weeb Wars, where it highlights the people who are on the side of Kick Vic. And the list just keeps going and going. And let me emphasize that someone took the time to compile all this information for people they don't even know.
Stop it. Get some help.
And information on people who weren't involved or may have not known all the details. And that's what the problem is, involving an entire list of talent into a really bad situation that had nothing to do with them and should have remained with the company's HR department. I won't read any names off either list because I think the whole idea is just batshit crazy. And it's meant to cause trouble and nothing else. And I wish I had a platform back then to give my own opinion on it. That is doing more damage than good. This is the kind of behavior that shouldn't be acceptable. That was just the fans talking about it online. Can you imagine what the people who actually make money from reporting on it or just plain instigating the situation for content? With multiple videos and the hundreds of thousands of views, it's about to get much worse.
You really think someone would do that? Just go on the internet and tell lies?
Now, as I've said in previous videos, the commentary community on YouTube is huge. If you're watching this in the future, the MrBeast workplace allegations are happening at the moment, with expose videos getting views in the millions worth thousands of dollars. As something being so lucrative, it makes sense to report on any kind of update as often as possible, even if you have to instigate the situation yourself in this case. And yes, the views for most of these videos in this specific case were in the hundreds of thousands. Some were close to 500,000.
Channels literally became dedicated to just talking about this stuff and speculating and accusing and twisting people's words on Twitter and email and showing video out of context.
Now, I do believe that you can side with whoever you feel like in situations like these. It can be friends or family, and it's all very personal if it's someone you actually know, because of the insight, experience, and information you may have that the public doesn't know. But when it's a stranger, it's a whole different story. Just because someone decided to support their friends, works at the same company, and is on the opposite side of your opinion, doesn't mean you should drag them down as much as possible through the content you make.
I didn't go on a tirade of anti-Sean Schemmel videos with clickbaity titles like Sean Schemmel destroys his fans' dreams.
And one of the biggest culprits is a YouTuber known as Yellow Flash. I watched these videos as they were coming out. They were covering the topic and supporting Vic. This was during the fan allegations, with the really bad ones admitted to be false. And not even the same person in the photos. One person even bragged that they got Vic fired, which I couldn't find the screenshot as things have been deleted since then, and not all the information was out there yet. From what we know now, you can see the huge tangled mess everything has become from a lot of the arguments happening online, and most of them not having any actual evidence from the people involved. The content of these videos were a lot of angry Twitter comments from people on both sides. But then these videos that were supporting Vic started becoming daily, and shifted away from Vic onto other Funimation voice actors, but still called Vic stuff.
Sean is rude to fans at times, gets very defensive, is jealous of other English Goku actors, and I think according to somebody from inside that I've talked to, he has some mental problems.
Where the criticisms were almost personal.
And he's basically calling everybody that supports Vic a bumhole. And it continues on to here. He had actually deleted that post and then remade it to the same thing, except if you don't know her, maybe shut up about her. He took the a-hole part out, but then he rectified that and said, sorry, shouldn't have said a-holes. I suppose that was me, but unless you are directly involved, none of you know what you are talking about.
Which I believe takes away from the credibility of simply reporting what happened, or any crucial updates.
But you're right, we don't know nothing. So then he comes down again. I did not call all Vic supporters a-holes. I was just referring to the ones who were being a-holes by giving Monica death threats, which is unacceptable under all circumstances. Heard through the grapevine is that Sean is a little touchy. He's a diva. He has to have it his way. I hear he's got quite the mental issues too. Particularly, I did hear a account of bipolar. I can't confirm that that's true. That's just what I heard, right? So I'm not saying for sure. It's almost like he was coming down from a high. Makes you think, doesn't it?
You can't just assume that just because the tweet's in a stressful situation. And yes, I did sit through the videos again, and the information did not add anything to help Vic. I also tried to find the videos where Sean was called Soy Goku, but could not find them due to soy meaning I am in Spanish, resulting in videos that translated to I'm Goku.
Soy Super Vegeta.
There were some Chris Sabat videos that also sounded personal.
Chris Sabat, the second-rate Vegeta, who I've never liked as Vegeta, by the way. Your big raspy voice doesn't fit him. I think Brian Drummond was very much more superior than you, and I don't think you even hold. You're not even qualified to hold the crap of the Japanese voice. You have the same voice for every character you do. Every character you do has that raspy voice. You have no talent.
And these stem from Sabat siding with the potential victims and being a core part of the company. At one point, Sean Schemmel reached out to another channel to clear up his name on things.
And one of the things that Sean was telling me is that he has kind of a history of getting frustrated and dealing with stuff like that. He's made it a priority to work on himself because he knows that he can be like that.
Because that YouTuber had a personal experience with him that went viral, and most of the conversation was private, but he did see it. And you have to keep in mind who could be watching.
I'm sorry that my video has been used as ammunition against your character. That was never my intention.
Although the situation is over, there are still channels like these that make videos like this on situations like this till this day. And it's a level beyond slop. It's malicious, with a bad intent, and it's just wrong to approach a topic that way.
Soy Super Vegeta.
Thankfully, in 2024, things have calmed down and have changed. Anime has gotten even more mainstream. It's kind of a twist that none of us who grew up on all the weird, obscure shows saw coming. And I wanted to say something about this situation a long time ago, as I didn't feel it was right for these people to drag other actors into what was happening, even if they didn't like each other.
With the exception of Sean Schemmel, who has always publicly expressed his hatred for me, and he told me himself at the Broly premiere that it was because of my openness about my faith, that he didn't think I should be sharing my faith with fans.
Come on, hey! Not on the fucking table, man! Come on, you guys are supposed to be fucking friends, man! Cut this shit!
And now the landscape of the fandom has changed. For the better, that benefits the actors in the industry, with autograph lines for the actors being crazy long, and of course the work that they do being appreciated once again. And that comes with people respecting their boundaries and showing more empathy, as you should with any person. While there are some fan bases that are still young and a bit on the extreme side, I believe that leading by example is the best way to show people online how a fan base should be, which is inclusive, understanding, and supportive. As for Vic Mañana, he's moved on.
Take all of this negative, hurtful energy that you're wasting on ruining somebody who you don't even know and channel it into something productive. Wouldn't that be great?
He's attending anime conventions and posting video discussions on his faith on YouTube with tons of people who still support him. But he seems to be doing well, and I myself couldn't find anything that was 100% proof that he did anything illegal.
I've never been charged with anything, much less convicted of anything.
I'm pretty neutral on the allegations due to the lack of proof, but I'm happy he's getting his chance to build himself back up with his talents. So what do you think about the influence of YouTubers on serious situations like this? What do you think about the fans who are crazy enough to compile a list for something that doesn't really affect them? Or should it have never gotten this far? And is the potential harassment part of being a well-known actor? even in the small anime space. I'd like to know your thoughts in the comments, because anime is something that at its core is entertainment. While it can inspire and comfort, it really shouldn't be seen as anything else. Thank you all for watching. If you made it this far, go ahead and like the video. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. If you're already subscribed, hi. While you're here, binge some of the shorts. They're pretty fun to watch and a lot of work goes into them. And I'll see you on the next video. Bye. I'm still sick right now. There is an anime video coming. Researching a possibly untranslated manga might not be necessary. You have no idea the circles I made just researching this video alone. More stuff coming next week. Bye.